For me, it doesn't really matter like how much the jacket's worth, whether it's a tenner or 10 grand. You're buying it because you like it. I'm Jojo Elgarice and I own Jojo's General Store by Rag Parade. I had a small rail in a shop in town called Sid and Mallory's, and I had like a shelf selling like bric-a-brac, like bits of stuffed animals and I don't know, like crap Snoopy mugs and there's just bits of junk really. And then I had a rail selling vintage clothing that I'd just picked up like out of my own collection, or odds and ends and my old skate shoes, and a lot of skate t-shirts and band t-shirts, and it started from there. It was based in Sheffield. It started off in the city centre, but now we're on Exall Road, which is like a 10-minute walk from town. We basically sell good quality vintage men's clothing, so anything from like handmade bespoke shoes to like vintage trainers, from World War II militaria, to probably right up to like a 1980s and 1990s sportswear. I've always been into the old gear and how it's made and it's constructed, and I like the fade of it. I'm not really into like brand new crisp clothing, you know, where the way it looks when it comes out of a packet. I know some people desire that look, but I've always preferred stuff that are a bit worn or a bit, I don't know, it just seems like the fabric's got a bit more, bit of a better look about it. I really like early French stuff, like old heavily repaired workwear jackets and moleskin stuff and linen workwear. But then I'm a massive fan of wax jackets as well, and outdoor smocks and Vental jackets and all sorts really. So it's a big mix. It's hard to like pinpoint something that that I really loved, because it's a combination of a lot of things. You know, we do a lot with knitwear. We sell a lot of Barber and Belstaff wax jackets. Sell a lot of workwear jackets. Sell a lot of shoes, a lot of trainers. So we sell like a healthy mix of everything, I suppose. Yeah, I noticed like the old sportswear trend has come in massively. I think probably 3-4 years ago, like items like old Massimo Osti stuff, like Stone Island CP Company. We had it in the shop for like, you know, I had really rare jackets in it between 70, 80, 100 quid, and we were just sat there, no one would even trying them on. And now them same jackets are probably times the value by 4 or 5. So I've noticed that's been a big trend, and things do dip it out, but I think the timeless classics do always stay in, and people will always buy them. And I think the trends up north do change a bit slower, and people are more into like rugged, well-made gear rather than just like hopping in somewhere and hopping out. I just never had a name at first, and then I was going to call it Parade Clothing, and I thought it sounds a bit wet, really, doesn't it? It sounds a bit pathetic. So then I just put the word rag in front of it, and I thought it just made it sound a bit more brutal and masculine, I suppose. It's a really nice area, and like there's a lot of parks, a lot of open spaces, and I think the best thing for me about this area is like you're a 10-minute walk into the city centre, and then you're a 10-minute walk into the middle of the Peak District. So it's like the best of both worlds. It's a good mix, and you get a lot of people around here that don't necessarily go into the city centre. They come around this area. They might live up there in the peaks, and they just come and do a bit of shopping around here, and then they go back. So you've kind of got a healthy mix of both sides coming in. I think think other dealers and other shops, they kind of get a bit annoyed with me, thinking, where the fuck does he find all that stuff? Like, you know, where's he getting that from? But I do put a lot of work in, and you know, there's no magic wand or time machine, as some people like to say, like that. You've just got to put in the hours of looking for it and digging and asking questions and looking in people's attics and just trying to find that gear, I suppose, because there's going to be a time when there's none left. So I don't know, but it does always seem to keep coming out. You know, you can surprise yourself sometimes. I think this jacket were a good find. It's what is it? It's an old barber, like a 1930s barber. And I bought it off a woman who used to belong to her dad, and he died. But it was just a really nice find. I just thought it's unusual. I've never seen another one since. I think I know one guy in London that's actually got one, but with a belt missing. The sportswear thing's carrying on, and I think there's certain elements that I don't mind, like. But I think that whole designer thing, like all the Tommy Hilfiger and all that really garish stuff, I don't think it's really for me. But there's little bits I like. You know, I like vintage Adidas trainers and vintage Nike trainers. I like old Stone Island jackets and CP Company. But I suppose the influence behind them are quite functional. A lot of it come from military and workwear, and you know, some of it was done really well. But then you've got to also take into account a lot of it was terrible as well. Recent pickup of an old climber. So the bag's around about 1940s, dating by these zippers on the side. It's British, and it comes with all his kit, which is quite nice. It's just one of the things that you want to find, really, and usually it's full of bed sheets or some shit, but it's looking pretty good though on this find. So inside we've got his original glucose tablets. These nice old wool mitts. So he must have been using this for like a good 30-40 years, because there's stuff of different eras. So these were around wartime, I'd say, these mittens here. And then he's got various robes. His old Peter Storm Cagoule from the 80s. And then his earlier smock from probably the 60s, which is quite nice. It's got an old label in it. Chemco proof. When wet, do not hang up at once, but shake well and dry near fire. This will preserve showerproof qualities. Not bad, is it, lad?
Amazing.
And then his Pro Plus tablets and his raisins. So it's a nice little time capsule. A few matches wrapped in tin foil. So this is a 1960s Grenfell hiking jacket. Nice, dead stock. It's got Nui press studs. Dates from around the late 60s. Steel aero zip. It's just quite nice to see it with all the tags, and then it's got a double label. The label from the shop it was bought from, the Climbers shop, Ambleside, the mountain shop, Birmingham. It's similar. It's a similar weave to a Ventile. Some say it's a tighter, close weave, so it's just basically a really finely woven cotton that's meant to have waterproof qualities. So this piece is Stone Island jacket from Spring/Summer 1983, designed by Massimo Osti, made out of the famous Telestella fabric, with reflective strips on the cuffs, and the badge to the front unusually on plain metal buttons, and the nice thing about these early ones, the badge is almost a bit more naively made as well. It's a very slight difference between that and the later green edge badges. It comes with the metal fireman clasp style fastening, which is pretty nice, and to be honest, pretty basic and quite naively made, whereas the later stuff got pretty technical and pretty rugged, where this looks like, almost looks like a sample, you know, like something they just knocked up. And I suppose that shows you like what Massimo Osti's work was like. It was very experimental and ever evolving, and you know, throughout the 80s and into like the mid 90s, I suppose his work changed a lot, and he did some good, some bad, and some very ugly. But I think this is a pretty nice piece, and it's a bit of a design classic, I suppose. So this is a CP Company Milli Migula, very iconic bit of sportswear history. The nice early one that comes with the hinged watch viewer. But the good one was that this, it came off a good customer from Derby, actually, of all places. And he told me about it. He said he'd never sell it, but the Rasso Gamato was peeling off inside, which is like a polyurethane coating that's bonded to the fabric, and it gives it, when it's complete, it gives it a lovely weight and feel. And this one's got it pretty much missing now. But inside the pocket, it comes with this, so it's got a spare button, and then it's got this ad from the Face magazine, and he stuck that on his fridge in 1990. And if you just see there, it says in the top corner, "Oh yes, one day this will be mine." And then he had that on his fridge for, well, up until he bought it, which has got his receipt here from 1998 when he bought it from Limey's in Nottingham, and he managed to get it discount because it was slightly faulty. It must have been sun faded or something like that. But then he's got a few of his old football tickets as well, and a little note from Nottinghamshire Police telling Derby County supporters to organise a safe exit. So yeah, that's quite a nice piece, and I kind of quite like it how it's a bit knackered and not perfect, because everyone wants this stuff so crisp, but you know, it did get worn a lot and used, so you know, it shows a bit of character, doesn't it? Next piece is a 1941 British paratroopers smock, sometimes known as the Denison smock. It's the early pattern, and it's an experimental pattern that I've never seen anywhere else, not even in a museum. It's got your centre zip, and it would have been made bespoke for an officer. The camouflage in it that you can see on that is hand painted, so they used to hand paint the fabric, and it created this amazing unique effect that really worked well as camouflage. And as it got worn and washed and dirty and mud was ingrained to it, it just got better with age, really. This one has got this era was often a popover, like a pullover that it came over the head, but this one's got a centre zip added, where the officers probably preferred that, as later on in the war they used to often cut the smocks and add a full length zip, so he was onto this a bit earlier than everyone else. And if you notice, the pockets are on the side, and that'll be for the mainly due to the fact that if he was on his stomach and he was going for a trench, or he was down below, he wouldn't want all his stuff in the front pockets dragging on the floor. He won't be able to move very freely. So just quite a nice, unique piece that I've never seen anywhere else. It was just something that I decided not to sell.